He can drop almost everything, but he never drops anything. That's my short summary of Pindleskin, the infamous undead super unique that is always hanging out at the same spot beyond the red portal in the town of Act 5. Thanks to his fixed starting position and the short travel distance, as well as being able to drop almost every unique item in the game, he has earned his spot as a main magic find target in Diablo 2. However, he also catches a lot of flack from frustrated players that complain that he doesn't drop anything. And to be honest, if you're used to the warm comfort of Mephisto, dropping at least something of set or unique rarity every other run, you're in for a rude awakening with Pindleskin. You have to be able to endure the inevitable dry spells and drops if you want to run him. So, is he worth the trouble? Well, Pindle has always been a mixed bag for me, and I have never really formed a strong opinion about him, so I decided to give him a real go and run him 1000 times to see if he's worth it. Let's go! On run number 3 I found a Skiller Grand Charm. A Poison and Bone Skiller for the Necromancer. I'm running with a Blizzard Sorceress with an Act 2 Mercenary. We both have pretty decent but not the absolute best gear. I'm running on player 7 settings since Blizzard finishes him off quickly enough, and I was looking to get some experience while I was at it. However, if I were to redo this, I would lower the player setting in favor of faster runs. On run number 6 I found this unique Necromancer offhand that I never knew how to pronounce. The Homunculus? Anyway, it rolled really high on the ED, not that it really matters. Then on the very next run I found Talrasha's armor. This is not the Pindleskin I remember. He really lured me in with some great drops in the early runs to get me hooked, but I had my suspicion that this was probably not gonna be representative of the many runs to come. And boy was I right. 38 runs later, on run 45, we got our next interesting drop. A nice pair of rare boots that are really close to being great. Triple resistances, faster run walk and magic find. It's just a shame that some of the rolls are a bit low. Still a pretty exciting find. Another rare on run 76, and this time it's an amulet. At the moment it dropped, I thought it was really close to being great, but in hindsight, maybe it's missing a bit too much. I found a Griswold's armor on run 78. This is not a particularly interesting drop, but I wasn't finding much at this point, so I was just happy to find something. On run number 86, I found a Rune Master. I personally find this item very interesting due to the high number of sockets, and we got 5 on this one, but I have never found a use for them. On run 131, I found another Griswold's armor. That's enough now, Pindleskin, thank you. On run 141, I found another class set piece. This time something a bit more useful, Talrasha's Helm. After that, it was time for my first real unlucky streak, 120 runs without anything worth noting. The dry spell was then broken by something just barely worth noting. Altar's Weapon, and unfortunately it only rolled 2 sockets. On run 270 I found another class set piece. This time it was the helm from the Assassin set, Natalia's Totem. I had an absolutely amazing drop on run 339. Yep, that's the unique Hydra bow, Windforce. I can't believe I found one so early on. This is such a classic Diablo 2 item, and it's so rare and so hard to get your hands on one, especially if you play single player with no trading. And the perfect roll on the mana leech to top it off, and Boazons are one of my favorite builds in the entire game, and wait, hold on, pause the Pindle runs. I'm gonna go and level a Boazon right now.
Oh, greetings, stranger. Greetings, stranger. Oh, greetings.
Man, that bow feels awesome. I only played with it a little bit so far, but the Windforce just hits differently. Oh well, now where were we? Right, back to the Pindle runs. On run 353 I found a unique troll nest, the Headhunter's Glory. We managed to get the max number of sockets, but to me this is one of those cool items that I've just never found a use for. A pair of Sandstorm Trek drops on run 381. On run 420 it's time for some more alders, this time it's the Helm. After enduring another 100 run dry spell, we found a Gladiator's Bane on run 526. A very strong defensive armor, not too commonly used, but if it's ethereal it can be a great merc armor. Really finding a lot of class set pieces. Next up is Natalia's boots. Now that's a bad roll. I find a unique ring on run 555. I know 777s are supposed to be a lucky number, but maybe 555s can be a minor lucky number. Doesn't seem to be my lucky numbers. On the very next run I find the unique bone knife, Wizard Spike. This used to be my favorite item in the game back in the day. Just look at all that utility. On run 562 I get a rare Pindle double drop. Mavina's gloves, but more importantly, Gore Riders, a really nice pair of boots. On the next run I found Bloodraven's Charge. I think this is supposed to be a pretty rare item, but I've been finding a lot of these lately. Too bad it's a pretty bad item. On run 581 I found what I thought to be a pretty decent Mana Leech ring. It's nothing crazy, so it might be borderline to include in a drop video, but at least I have a Barbarian that will get great use out of this. On run 581 I was so busy admiring my mercenary's gear that I almost missed a drop. But luckily I spotted the Demon Horn's edge lurking at the bottom of the screen. On run 678 another unlucky streak of almost 100 runs were broken with a pair of Mage Fists. Not that the roll itself is important, but it's a great feeling to find perfectly rolled items. On run 720 I found a really rare item. Well, from Pindle itself I found nothing, but after the run I decided to go to town and gamble away some gold. And I gambled a metal grid. This thing is rare, so it was pretty cool to gamble one. I wonder what Iron Golem shenanigans I might get up to. Please leave a comment if you have a reasonably priced suggestion. The Green Avenger Guard for the Immortal King set drops on run 772. There haven't been much in the way of jewelry, but on run 784 a unique ring drops. But let's not get too excited. I found a really nice item on run 798. And no, it's not the unique war staff I'm talking about, but the small charm. With 15 to life and 11 cold resist, this is gonna be a really useful item to a lot of characters. But after this, things got really rough. I only found 2 more noteworthy items in the last 200 runs. The first of them though, on run 841, is quite a nice one. Dracul's Grasp, and apart from the life leech, it was a really good roll. The last item I'll include is not a unique, but a base item with potential. An ethereal Great Poleaxe. It would be awesome to get the 4 sockets to finish on a high note, but it just wasn't meant to be. So that concludes 1000 Pindle runs. Was it worth it? Well, while I'm not swimming in good loot, I certainly did pick up some good items, and it's really hard to complain since I found the Windforce. The problem is that Pindle is kind of boring to run, and I had more than one dry spell where he would not drop anything remotely interesting for over 100 runs, which can be very demotivating. So, do I recommend running him? For most people, no, not really. There are many other places I would rather farm for uniques, especially now that we have terror zones in the game. But I do think there's a place for him if you're the type of person who likes to grind out some mindless runs while watching TV or YouTube and want to play on autopilot. Or if you're an absolute loot goblin who doesn't care about fun anymore and just wants to spin the RNG slot machine that is Diablo 2 item drops every 30 seconds for a tiny chance of hitting the jackpot. If you haven't had enough already, here's another grindy loot fest for you to watch.